The chickens that we have at the Compost Learning Center are compost workers. They're not pets, they're not domesticated farm animals, they're actually brought into compost, and they are the first line of composting. When we get the food scraps in these big giant bins, those food scraps get dumped out onto the big chicken hoop house, and the chickens start to work on the composting of the food scraps. They'll peck out the bits of food they like best, and they have certain preferences, like they really like strawberry tops and they like pasta. They love to pick the seeds off of poppy seed bagels, and they scratch in the piles. Their claws are little pitchforks. And so they're turning the food scraps, they're aerating the compost piles around the center, and most importantly, they are pooping. And the scoop on poop is that chicken poop is super high in nitrogen, which is an essential ingredient in the composting process. So the chicken manure really helps make a good, healthy, strong compost. We have a saying, waste of one is food for another. So when the food scraps come out from the farmers markets or from the vendors on Governor's Island, those food scraps that are usually tossed out, the chickens are helping to turn them into compost. We have maybe a dozen different types of chickens, some pure breeds and then some mixed chickens that were hatched here on the island. There are particular breeds that are better for this climate and this environment, but all chickens will be helpful in a compost process. Chickens are a phenomenal resource for composting and for ingredients in the compost recipe, but they're also a phenomenal responsibility. They have not yet learned to feed and water themselves. So we have volunteers that come out and we distribute the food scraps for them. We clean out their nesting boxes. We fill up their drinkers. We collect their eggs. So the chickens need someone 365 days to come out to the island and take care of them. We have chickens to help educate the public. The public isn't always necessarily coming to the Compost Learning Center to see big giant piles of decomposing food scraps. But if they see chickens or they hear, oh, there's animals, they come out to look at the chickens. And then we flip the conversation and start to talk to them about composting and what the role of composting is in their lives and how it's important for the environment. So the chickens are kind of like the gateway to composting, get them hooked on the chickens and then switch them over to the compost conversation.